the first form of like AI that I really didn't like, and we were talking about this yesterday, my Apple Watch. I like had it, liked it. It kept telling me to breathe all the time. I felt really calm. It kept telling me to stand up. I just went on a walk. I was like, when is it ever going to be enough for you? I felt like I was dating this thing and it was like never satisfied with my movements. I was like, why do I need to breathe?
Whoever on their product team was like, you know what we should do? Let's remind these idiots to breathe. It's like, dude, we're not dying.
Hey everybody, welcome to Travel Nerds. This is episode 102, which every single time we keep going, I'm just surprised to feel the same way. I'm like, wow, we're still doing it. Here we go.
Do you know, that actually makes me think of, did you catch Whitney Cummings on CNN, her little roast?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so for New Year's Eve, Anderson Cooper and what's the guy on Bravo?
Andy Cohen.
Andy Cohen. So they do their
yes.
Yeah. So they do their New Year's Eve thing. It's funny and all that. And they let Whitney Cummings come on, and she roasts CNN and like kind of like the Democratic like establishment. And it was so funny. But in the middle of it, she's like, "Are you still letting me go? Like, did I get cut?" She fully thought that they were just going to cut her, because she roasted like Kamala, the DNC. She roasted Pfizer, which is probably their biggest advertiser. And it was very, very funny. But when you said that, like, are we still going? Do you think that we're going to get canceled?
No, it's more just like, yeah, we don't have to go down that road. We don't have to go down my Travel Nerds prediction path. But are you talking about is it the roast of 2024 that like came out on Netflix?
Correct. Yeah.
I need to watch that. Yeah, because the Andy Cohen and what's his name thing was last year. And everyone was just dying laughing, saying like they took edibles or something and they were like losing their minds live. It was awesome. That's so epic to be like on live TV and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna get a little weird. It's a crazy move.
Yeah, and it's only acceptable to do that, I believe, if you are a celebrity, if it's New Year's Eve. Because if you showed up to work doing that on like a normal Wednesday to read the news, you would be done. But if it's New Year's Eve and it's a party, it's like, okay, yeah, they were on drugs, fine.
Does Anderson Cooper read the news?
Yeah, he's like a news guy. He reads the news. That's a like very classic way.
I don't know anything about anything, it seems sometimes.
Silence. I was like, I don't know if this is a trap or not. You know, when your partner like says something and you're like, I don't know, this could be a test or a trap. I thought you were setting me up there.
1000%.
I just went silent.
That is the thing about a relationship that's so tough, is you're like, was that genuine or is this a test?
Yeah. What's the last test that you set out?
Well, last night I wanted to just like continuously keep housing dessert. But I always have to gauge because he's pretty healthy. So I was trying to be like, oh my God, isn't this stuff so good? It might go bad soon. So we should basically always trying to trick him into more dessert, but making it his idea. So that was the last one. But yeah, it happens every day, many times a day.
It's always a test.
It's just a test.
I run a test every year for Christmas. And so usually the test starts in like September, October, and I make mention to something that is just pricey enough where you would have to be like, ooh, that's actually like a really big gift. I don't know if we should do it. But each year for the last 14 years, I've been doing this test for Diva. And I say something that I want for Christmas, but I don't say that it's a Christmas gift and it's outside of the Christmas window, because I want to see if she'll remember it and that she'll get me that like big thing that I was asking for. And so I set the trap this year.
It's a year-long test. It's a 8-month long test.
Well, no, usually it starts in September, right? So like I try to be reasonable of like, hey, I'm not going to put it in the Christmas window because then that's too easy, right? But I put it outside the Christmas window, and then I see like, is she going to get me this? And
you hope she writes it down in her notes app at that
Correct.
moment. And then, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, and then this year she failed a test again. 14 years in a row failing each year.
Diva. She knows what you're doing. She's a smart lady. She knows
No.
what you're doing.
And then this was the first year that I told her that she's being tested for 14 years and that she's failed every year. And she's like, what?
14-year con. It's too much.
It's too much.
I directly told my dad what I wanted for Christmas. And it was like really simple. I just wanted this phone case. And
that's cool.
has seals on it. And I've been
So random.
looking forward to this phone case for months. And I go to open this box that's like perfectly shaped like a phone. And I was like, yes, I'm so excited. And I opened it up and it's just a candy bar. And I was like, so you didn't get me that phone case? And he's like, what phone case? And I sent it to him 40 times. And I was like, it's the only thing I wanted. Just a $50 phone case. God.
Did you get the phone case for yourself?
Yes. On Christmas Day. Like as
So-
I opened the chocolate bar, I like hop online and bought it for myself. I was like, God, it's such an easy gift.
It's such an easy gift. Yeah, I love doing like little tests and seeing like, do they pass?
Yeah, you do it to me
It's good.
every day at work.
Oh, you're getting a test this afternoon for
You
sure.
call me at 4:54 sometimes to run through something. I'm like, damn, I've been working
Yeah.
all day. Now I have 6 minutes left.
Well,
All
let's
right.
see.
So let's talk about some predictions for the new year. Anything goes. We'll try to be travel nerds related first. We'll go like tech and travel, and then we can get a little unhinged towards the end.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want me to go first? This is 2025. It's a new year. We'll do some predictions. We did do a prediction episode last year. I got to go back to see if those came true. Maybe we'll
Definitely
we should not go back.
There's no way we are that psychic.
I don't know. I feel like we're pretty smart, but I'll actually take the first one. So this is something that for the last 3 weeks, I have spent an insane amount of time on. But my prediction for 2025 is that dev teams at companies are going to get a lot smaller. So let me explain. This is kind of like a proof point for when Elon took over Twitter. He laid off 80% of the staff, and Twitter is humming. Like Twitter, X, whatever you call it, it's good. And
80% is astonishing. 50% still shocking, but 80 is amazing. And to not like feel that and just be killing it.
The platform is as good as ever. I haven't watched the news in 3 weeks. And basically now I really do get all of my news from X. And it goes to show that there's a lot of teams, especially the bigger the company. I'm not talking about small teams like ours. Like we need every person that we can get. But the bigger teams, there's
That
a lot
already
of
operate like a well-oiled machine.
correct. There's a lot of human middleware of just like people that get in the way of progress. And I think that that's what Elon discovered. And I have been playing with this tool called Replit for the past 3 weeks or so, and I've been building little mini websites and apps. I started myself. Now, I don't code. So the fact that I can even build something talking to AI on Replit is mind-blowing, insane. And we have a significant portion of our revenue that instead of our clients wanting to use our product, they want to use what's called white glove, which is just a fancy word for old school emailing people options, right? So there's a lot of problems with that. So I built over Christmas break using Replit, basically like I productize sending email options for flights to people. And I built the whole thing with AI and I showed it to our CTO and his jaw was on the floor. And he was just like, man, he's like, we are about to go so fast this year. And this is the very first inning of things like Replit and AI agents. So my prediction is that AI agents and AI in general are going to force dev teams at big companies to get much smaller and faster.
What are we going to do when this becomes common? It's everywhere. It's in every business. Like, is there going to be a person whose job is solely dedicated to making sure the AI isn't hallucinating or it isn't coming up with algorithms that are incorrect. Like, how do we do that side of it? Because obviously it sounds great to automate it, but it scares me.
Yeah. So, and I've been thinking a lot about this. So when I was using Replit, how Replit works is you could think about it kind of like Chat GPT, but then with like a coding interface. So you can talk to it and say like, build me an app to log my meals and track my calories, and it'll start laying all the
Build me
code
an
for
app?
that. Yeah, correct. Like a web app, right? Like so you just want to make like a website, right? And so you could, it's really, really cool. And so you basically talk to it and it builds. But sometimes, if you're not very specific, or even if you are, sometimes it'll do things that you don't want to, like almost like the hallucination issue. And so, what you have to do is you have to continually check it. So, what I would say is, I think people's jobs are going to go from actually like doing the work to reviewing the work. And they call this human in the loop, right? So I don't think in 2025 that there are going to be AI agents that run autonomously. I think that the design for the foreseeable future will be AI does a job, human checks the job. And that's currently how Replit is set up. So that you give the AI like a task, it does the task, you review it, you check it, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes you have to be like, "Ooh, that's not what I meant. Can you go back and change this?" So
Okay.
it's very much the same way that you would like assign work to someone who's on your team. They give you the work, you review the work. It's really no different. So I think that people are going to move from like actually doing work to reviewing work. So it's going to be more cerebral, it's going to be higher level. And I think that people are going to be more focused on higher level functions, hopefully. But that is my kind of prediction for this year is that you are not going to need as many people because the AIs are going to do so much of the like boring, repetitive jobs that you used to have to pay an engineer $100,000 for. And you're going to have more of the engineering team that's like checking the work, basically.
Do you think reviewing instead of doing is going to make us more intelligent and learn things that we wouldn't have done in our own research? Or do you think it's going to dumb us down?
It's a really good question. You'd have to ask someone who's an engineer because, like Jason has reviewed some of the code, and he's like, it writes good code, but it kind of does like what is conventionally. How he said it is like it basically does like what's like normal conventionally. So it doesn't have a lot of like creativity, or it's not an expert coder yet.
Yeah.
I've found
Textbook.
this in, yeah. So it just does things kind of like by the book, but it's clean and all that. So I've learned a lot just watching it work. So now I understand more about databases and schemas and just kind of design. I have a better appreciation for like how bugs pop up. But I think it'll make us smarter because you actually get to see the AI think and work too, which is really cool.
I was going to say, like, I think we've gotten so lazy that I think it will be more helpful and we'll be able to see like things that we wouldn't have thought of or at least like how elaborate it gets, right? Like you write a
Yeah.
1-page thesis, it writes a 40-page thesis, and you just got to slim it down. Like, how could you not learn from that?
Yeah.
Okay, I have one.
Okay. Hit me.
I think that AI is just going to get crazier and crazier. One piggybacking up of what you just said, but I was thinking of when I went to the airport last month, and Clear, you usually, eyes or fingers, and you do your whole thing. Now
Yeah.
it just straight up takes a picture of your face so fast, and you walk right through. It's like really freaky. And same thing with the whole airport, right? Like your luggage is automatically tagged and routed without you even, they just boop, bye. That's all like AI-ified. AI guides like through the security lines. So people who've never flown before, it's like smoother experience for them. It's kind of cool. Like the potential delays thing, like AI can predict potential delays and like proactively adjust your itinerary based on weather predictions and stuff. That is very cool.
Yeah, I think I did experience the Clear thing firsthand the other day, and I was like, thank God, finally, because well, now that you're Diamond, also,
Thank
congratulations.
you so
Also,
much.
I
It's been a
know
long road.
It's been a long road, lots of flights. But you made diamond just from flying, which is cool. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like a credit card spend thing. But just to let you know, you get clear for free now as part of your diamond membership.
How long is that for? A year?
Yeah, you basically have to make diamond each year. You have to like re-up. So I don't know what next year is going to look like travel for you. I know that for the business we don't travel as much, but we have at least like 4 or 5 things on
I
the
think I
books.
just paid for my TSA pre-check to get re-upped, and I was like mad about it. This should be free
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
no
it's not
reason.
so bad though. It's not so
It
bad.
was like $40. I was like so frustrated. But yeah, I think the airports are easier. I think it makes like going to a concert easier. Like, have you noticed that? Like, even going to like an event or a football game or something, like every form of AI that's coming in has been really seamless and helpful. Is there any type of AI you can think of that's more like creating more friction or not as inviting?
It's a good question. AI that creates more friction. Uh, there are some modes of it that I don't really care for, or that I think can be a little bit wonky. So, for example, I don't know if you've ever used ChatGPT on your phone, but there's this mode where you can talk to it, and it's very cool. But I basically made a promise to myself to like get more into the tools for this year. So on car rides, now this makes me sound like a dork, but on car rides, instead of listening to music or a podcast, I actually chat with the AI and I just have it like teach me something, which on the and it is cool, but there's a lot of wonkiness to it where it'll cut off or stop or it'll forget something that I said. So I don't know if its memory is long enough yet. I can't talk at length. I have to like make sure that things that I say are very condensed. So there's some
That'd
like
be so
little
hard for
wonky
me.
things. Yeah, you just want to talk, talk,
Blah,
talk,
blah,
talk.
blah, blah, blah. I think the first form of like AI that I really didn't like, and we were talking about this yesterday, my Apple Watch. I like had it, liked it. It kept telling me to breathe all the time. I felt really calm. It kept telling me to stand up. I just went on a walk. I was like, when is it ever going to be enough for you? I felt like I was dating this thing and it was like never satisfied with my movements. I was like, why do I need to breathe? I'm literally laying in bed and it would be like, your stress levels are high. And I was like, oh my God,
I turned that breathe thing off. I was like, I do not want to be reminded to
it's
whoever
horrible.
on their product team was like, you know what we should do? Let's remind these idiots to breathe. It's like, dude, we're not dying. Like, we're okay.
What do you
I
think the purpose of that was to make them like the Apple team was like, let's make it feel more like it knows you. Is that what you think the goal was?
I think I think that they internally were like, how do we position this watch to be a health companion? And so that was like the easiest one, like stand up and walk, remind yourself to take deep breaths. I think that that was positioning itself of like this thing on your wrist is meant to be like your guide and like a healthy thing. Because I mean, it is cool. Like when you work out, like I actually have my workout up from yesterday. Worked out for 54 minutes on tonal. Yeah, so there's a lot of good things, but I think that they were probably trying to position it as like a health thing.
It makes me like a teenager with my phone when I have an Apple Watch. It's like I'm looking at everything. Like, let me just leave my phone in the corner of the kitchen, not know where it is 6 hours later, and be like, where's my phone again? Like, I love that. And I also hate the like AI Instagram messages and everything. It's like, oh, you were just looking at belts yesterday, and you just see belts for like 7 days. That's tough too. I don't love that either.
Well, I know that you probably have some predictions for travel for this year. Anything that you want to look into your crystal ball and kind of give the viewers or listeners about a travel prediction for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, remote work, right, has become so much more prevalent. All these companies are closing down their businesses and their offices, and they'll just be fully remote from here on out. Countries are rolling out like digital nomad visas, kind of like what I did
Yeah.
in Australia, the work and holiday visa, where you can come and you can have a job. You don't have to have a job. You can just come like enjoy your life. I think that's going to be more of a thing. Work from anywhere hotspot. And then I think co living concepts, like even last year, I partnered with this like digital nomad company. And they said that like their prediction for this year is that they'll like triple in size in their business because people are quitting their 9 to 5 jobs where they have to drive to work. And there's just too much you can do from home. It's not like there's slim pickings with these like remote job options. So also, why would you do that? Why would you wake up at 7, drive to work in the dark, go sit in an office all day? It's so tough. I can't imagine. I mean, I've never done that in my life, so I'm just pretending. But that would be crazy. So I think that digital nomad, like country visas will open up more. I think that co-living spaces will be more of a thing, kind of like think of WeWork for the 21st century, like a more updated version of kind of like a, what are those called?
Like a Lifetime Fitness. Well, I was thinking of Lifetime.
Fitness.
Well, I was thinking of Lifetime because they have they have co-working in the gym.
Co-working.
So like,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, the WeWorks and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a mall for people that work remote. Like, I think you'll have restaurants over here. I think you'll have a gym over here, a spa. You can get your nails done. You can work like there's this whole area where you can just sit at desks and work with people you know or don't know, or your own little pods or the nap pods. Or I just think like the way that Google set up their offices, I think it's going to be like that, like a little city. I imagine
That's
that
cool.
would be more popular.
Yeah. All right. My prediction for travel for 2025, and then I'm not a big sustainability guy, although I have an electric car, so I guess I buy into it in some respect. But I really have the car just because it's fast and fun. I don't really care about the like emissions part of it. But my
Just
sorry,
lie. Just lie.
sorry. Okay, so my prediction for 2025 is that I actually think that sustainable tourism is actually going to take center stage. So when you and I were going to Barcelona last summer, Barcelona, of course, is one of the most like popular tourist spots in the world. And there was this moment right before we left that tourists were getting shot with water guns, which is like the most pleasant way to be shot, right?
Of
like,
course.
it's hot, you get a little water. It's like, thank you, sir, for shooting me with water. That would be
I love that
interesting
about
and fun.
them. They're like, this is how we'll prove a point. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually watched this clip on a weird side note on Instagram this morning of a dude that burst through a window and found one of his friends in bed with his girlfriend and shot him with a paintball gun. Shot him like
painful.
it was like 50 times. So he was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, damn. I was like, how many times do you think
Burst
that you should
through
get
a wall like the Kool-Aid Man, or just like burst through a door?
through a window? I'm pretty sure he came through the window. Like the
Did it
Kool-Aid
look
Man.
staged? Don't lie. You know, when you're
Honestly,
like, is this real or not? I just don't know.
honestly, it kind of didn't look staged because the video is kind of like grainy and shitty. So I don't know. It looked real. My question to you is, how many times does he get to shoot the guy? Right. So like, is 10 shots with the paintball gun fine? Is 50? Can he do the whole hopper? What do you think?
I'd say you make him stand up, hands on the wall. And then you're allowed to have a certain amount. I don't want you squirming around, you know? You
I
might
want you to
hit
ta-
her accidentally in the face. No one wants that. So just, yeah, I think it would be like all right, you get 40. Then I'm going to go over
Oh
here.
my God. Could you imagine the welts on your back after 40 paintballs? That'd be brutal.
Have
Okay.
you
Anyway.
ever been shot with a paintball not playing paintball?
No, have you? That sounds like there's a story there.
Totally. Back in the day when we lived in Louisiana in the old cul-de-sac, there's always like that kid, that like one kid, you know, that was like super bad in the neighborhood. And when you saw him, all the parents are like, oh, don't hang out with.
It's Dylan.
Yeah, there's Dylan again. Well, Dylan was there was 6 kids and they were 3 sets of twins. Crazy.
What? That's crazy. What? That's like some play the lotto type shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I have never mind. Okay. I was going to go down to like a twin story rampage, but I won't. But he would always run around the neighborhood. And when the girls were all like playing, like, move your body like a cyclone. No, that was a little too late. Maybe like shake that laffy taffy on our bikes. Like just being like, like around the neighborhood, he would shoot us with BB guns.
Oh, that's
BB guns. So that one day I came home and I was like, Mom, and I like showed her my back, and she just went over there and absolutely ripped that kid's head off. Never saw Dylan again.
Dylan's dead.
Yeah, Dylan with a Y too, which explains everything. But
Yeah. Well, Dylan with an I would be like satanic. I've never even seen it.
disgusting.
Disgusting.
Gotta look out for them.
All right, my prediction: sustainable tourism takes center stage, and I think that places like Barcelona and Machu Picchu and Venice, they're actually working on putting like regulations that limit the amount of tourists, which I think is probably a good thing because these things are so cool and you want to make sure that they last, but humans, and I blame Instagram for this, everyone like chases the gram. So there's something popular to do and people just want to go there and take pictures so they can post like, oh, I did said thing. And I think that the cities are like kind of getting sick of it. So I actually think that there's going to be, for really popular spots, I think that some places will start to put in regulations to protect like the over tourism of those spots.
I heard that about Machu Picchu like 5 years ago. I thought they were going to shut down because it was like eroding the structure and like I think they actually did. I think that's what happened. They shut it down for like a little bit, let the grass like have its moment to regrow and everything like that. But totally, I think that's a great idea. Or have like on years and off years, right? It doesn't just have to be like this number of people a day. Just have it open and shut it down and restore it for a year or so. I think that's a great idea. That's the last thing we need is like 50 years from now, our kids can't see, the Duomo in Milan or something because people are stupid and don't respect it enough.
Yeah.
That was probably the coolest structure I've ever seen in my life.
Really? Mm-hmm. You've been to Milan? No, I've never been. I've never done North Italy. The closest that I got was when we were in Switzerland.
Oh my God.
We should have went. We should have just.
That was so hard. Why did we not go? It was literally right there. Something I wrote down that has nothing to do with travel or technology.
Yeah, hit me.
But it was the first thing I thought before I even opened up the internet. I was like, I feel like in 2025, stock prices for like private security companies are going to go up like crazy because of all of this violence and like the murder, the like United Healthcare murder and everything. Like I would think that a lot of executives at a lot of like really big important companies are probably going to invest in some serious security. What do you think?
Well, you're actually going to meet my security guard later today. Yeah.
Perfect. What's his name?
His name? It's Jerome.
I was going to say that. I was trying to guess. I was like, he's going to say Bruno.
I was going to go Bruno. I was going to go Jackson or Jerome. Those were the three. You know what
my downfall with a private security person would be? First of all, calling them a private security person. They'd be like, that's not what you call us. Second of all would be I would try to rope them into doing other things for me besides protecting me,
Yeah. But like, can you go get my Whole Foods thing? That'd be great.
Exactly. Like, hey, that restaurant doesn't actually deliver on Uber Eats. Can you go pick it up? And then next thing you know, like they're not trying to make sure I don't get murdered at all. That would be my biggest downfall.
That's a good prediction because especially in the last like few days, have you seen there's been multiple plane crashes? Did you see the kid that just pushed that random dude in front of the subway like a few days ago? It was crazy. I'll send you it. It's honestly one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I don't know the ages, but probably between like 16 to 25. And they just jumped the turnstile. This guy's like just sitting there waiting for the subway car, and the subway comes and he just pushes him right in front of it.
House of Cards style. That is so sad.
It was crazy. It was like the most disgusting thing that I've seen. For people, like when they see that, there should be no trial. They should just kill those people. Like that's a crazy world where that's like something, that's something that if I were like king of the world, that you get murdered. And possibly your whole family.
Stop.
That's true. I know.
Stop.
I shouldn't say it. It's a joke.
Stop. I feel like um I feel a little like ignorant because I don't watch the news. So when someone's
Yeah.
like, "Did you see this and that?" I'm like, "No." But from what I have seen and what has like passed through the cat videos that I'm watching is
Mm.
like the Cybertruck attack. What's the other thing we were
Yeah.
talking about yesterday? The New Orleans situation where they drove through the
Yeah.
street and killed a bunch of people. Just feels like I don't know. You would think that like AI is like giving people their lives back and they don't have to work as much. And like this whole conversation isn't about AI, but it's just like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like things are getting better and like life is getting less shitty, you know? We're further away from the pandemic and stuff. It all just feels like, was it always this dark or is it just progressively getting like more tragic?
You bring up a good point because this is every person that's over 60 when you talk with them and they're like, I remember when I was a kid and the world wasn't as bad. And then the data actually says that like the world is progressively getting better year over year,
Of
right?
course. You didn't have the news or Instagram or anything to show you
So
how
you
bad
didn't
everything
know,
was all the
yeah. You
time.
didn't know. And then the news also has a crazy incentive, which is beginning to reverse of like the goal of the news is to get you to tune in. And the easiest way to get you to tune in is to make you scared or angry. Right? That's why there's no positive news. So it's like
God.
you literally are being
John
conditioned.
tried, didn't he? Didn't John Krasinski
Yeah.
try?
During the pandemic, he launched this Some Good News, and then it was like really cool, and it was what everyone needed. But I didn't need that just for the pandemic. I need it every day. Like I want to
Yeah.
watch positive news. I want to learn something, and maybe that's what podcasting is. But I think that this election cycle killed mainstream media, and I think it's for the best because I mean I heard CNN's ratings are like they're in the toilet.
Why'd it kill it? Because no one knows what the truth is and everyone's just over it?
Yeah,
Or,
I think that people realize that that the mainstream media cannot be trusted in what they choose to cover, the
yeah.
way that they cover it. It's so biased, and people felt the bias. And I think that people are getting smart enough where they don't want to be told what to think and what to feel. They just want to be like, just give me the information,
Yeah.
and I want to decide for myself, which is why I think that podcasting is so cool because you get to listen to people talk at length, and typically podcast hosts they're not trying to do gotcha questions. Like Joe Rogan's not trying to embarrass anyone on a
Right.
show. He's just letting them talk, and then he's respecting the audience enough to say like, you heard what he said. What do you think? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually like a much more mature and cool adult thing. But the mainstream media is very much like they're coloring in the picture for you and then feeding it. They're not just giving you the news and then letting you come to your own conclusion. So I think people got sick of that, and it's in the ratings. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, their ratings tanked like really, really bad. And whereas like there was a joke that Elon Musk was going to buy MSNBC for pennies on the dollar, which would have been funny. Okay, so here is my culture prediction for 2025. I saw this, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about this. And then I was like, you know what? This is huge. And I asked my wife if she would do this. And she's like, yeah, I actually would. So my prediction is as AI gives us more of our time back and it maybe displaces some jobs, I think that in real life is going to become even more important. And I think that people are kind of desperate for community and connection. And there's this website or it's an app slash service called Time Left. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'll pitch it to you and then you tell me if you would do this. And maybe if you even were going to do it, I'd be down to do it together. All right. So I'll give you the premise. Time Left is a website where you sign up and you sign up to have dinner with five strangers on a Wednesday. And so you pay like a monthly service fee, and on Wednesday you get paired up, and there's a restaurant, and you go and you have dinner, and you meet five other strangers, and you could basically it just happens on Wednesdays, and it's just like a social way to get together, and everyone else at the table also opted in to be there to meet new people, and it was very interesting. The company went from zero to I think $10 million a year in revenue in very quick. They're in so many cities all over the place now. And so it's a very cool business, but it's an in real life business that's tech enabled. And I wanted to ask you, would you ever do that? Would you just sign up and go and have dinner with five strangers?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think you have to be a certain type of person to do that willingly instead of having someone rope you into it, which is fine too. If your girlfriend ropes you into it, go do it.
Yeah.
I have done this many times. If you've ever heard of the website Meetup,
Yeah.
basically you can like sign up for, like, you create a profile, you put your interests. So I can put like ceramics and fitness and outdoor, and what do I not like? Hiking. And then like it'll only send you things that match your like your interests that you put in. But I've definitely been to dinner with, like, it's like Americans dinner in Sydney, and then it's just like 10 people that meet up at a Italian place. Or my Thanksgiving was spent outside of the Opera House, like the Botanical Gardens. They have this like really big, beautiful field. And it was like all expats meet here on Thanksgiving because obviously they don't do that. And we all like brought turkey and stuff and like hung out. I didn't know one person. I was like 45 people showed up, which is also, I've also been to
Was it
ones where
cool?
like no one showed up and it was just me. So there's that too. But yeah, so it's so cool.
As you get older, and you kind of know this, but it becomes harder to make friends, especially when you're like in a relationship and it's hard, like you lose touch with your couple friends and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I wonder if there's a version of this for couples. Would you ever do this with, instead of five random strangers plus you, would you ever do this of like have dinner with two other random couples?
Why not? I
Same
think
thing,
we
yeah.
do
Well,
live
I
in
think
that
that the couples thing
world.
is easier too.
Yes, totally. You have your person, it's not a big deal. We do live in that world now. Like, I miss school where you could just make new friends and like have different conversations with different people. Oh, I like English class because I get to hang out with Miranda and I never see her other than that. You know, it's like when you're a
Yeah.
grown up, you just have your friends, you keep your friends, and you don't really make new friends very often. So I think it's a great idea.
All right, so that's my prediction for 2025 is that in real life is going to become even more important as AI gives us more of our time back, as just people are just they want that connection. I don't think that I don't think that people were meant to be glued in front of a screen for all time, and so that's my prediction for 2025. And that wraps up our prediction show. We will revisit this maybe like in 6 months, maybe at the end of the year, and kind of see how we did. We also have some fantastic guests coming on the podcast that are in the AI space. It's very topical and of the moment. So we do have two guests that are going to come on that are fantastic. And so make sure that you tune in next week and have a good week and have a good 2025. I hope that any
Yes.
resolution that you made, I hope that you keep it. Try to keep it for at least 2 weeks. So at least there's like a small win. I already broke mine of eating healthy, but yeah. So, and we're about to break it this
Day three.
afternoon of being good and eating healthy. Day 3 is already trash. But anyway, I hope you keep your resolutions and have a good rest of your week.